Hey guys, what's up? It's TenneyBox here. Welcome back to another video. In the background is some Final Fantasy 15 gameplay, obviously, because we're talking about that. This is from a live stream I did probably close to, I think about 3 weeks ago. So closer to a month, actually. Of my first impressions while playing the game. I actually never ended up streaming the entirety of the game. I ended up actually enjoying the game for myself off stream. So if you guys want me to stream the entirety of the game in the future or make a Let's Play on my channel, let me know in the comment section down below of this video. But in this video, I wanted to talk about the Final Fantasy 15 DLC, in my just review of it, and my opinions, my thoughts, criticisms, things I liked about it, stuff like that. So for me, I don't know if you guys had to pay for it, but when I bought the Windows edition of it, and it came pre-installed and just up already in the game. So I was under the impression that people had to pay for it. It could be a free DLC sort of deal, but I honestly was not too sure on it. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I was like, hey, you know what? I didn't have to pay for this unless it like secretly like charged my credit card, but it didn't. Like I don't know. But my favorite of the three episodes, and I want to talk about that one first because I think it had the best impression on me, and that was Gladiolus' episode. Him fighting Gilgamesh was pretty awesome, I've had to say so myself. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of DLC, and I couldn't necessarily tell you that the Final Fantasy 15 DLC is a necessity, because honestly, it is and it isn't. Because, yes, I enjoyed myself while playing it, but it almost felt like it could have been definitely part of the main game without any DLC nonsense and making people have to wait for it. Because, in my humble opinion, it didn't really go to any new areas. Yes, we had Prompto's episode with the gunplay, which I thought was pretty awesome. We had Ignis's episode where he did his the dagger stuff. I can't even think of what the name of it's called right now, and I thought that was pretty BA. And of course, Gladiolus' episode, which I still is my favorite, because, and this is gonna sound weird, but the only reason I liked Gladiolus' episode the most is because it was kind of almost like a boss rush simulator sort of thing, and that's something I wanted from Final Fantasy for a very long time. Like, something about a boss rush, and it's not even something I usually go for, but for me, if I could like boss rush through every Final Fantasy 15 boss or every Final Fantasy 10 boss or whatever it may be, I would be totally down to that game, because I like boss rush games sometimes. Not all the time. If it's done correctly, yeah, it's great, but the DLC for Gladiolus' episode felt like a boss rush game. Prompto's episode felt more like a third-person shooter, which it was good and fine and all, and I really appreciated the innovation that they did with it, but that's the thing, though. It's innovation for the Final Fantasy series or the franchise, but it didn't feel like real innovation for, like, the entirety of, like, gaming, you know what I mean? It's like, it was very much kind of repetitive after a little bit, and honestly, it kind of started to get old after a while, especially in Prompto's episode. I found it getting that way, and which is kind of sad, because I think after playing through 15, I think that Prompto is one of my favorite characters. And it's not like these episodes are inherently bad because they get boring right away, because obviously there has to be some downtime in between, like, big climactic scenes and action-packed events, bosses, stuff like that. But I honestly didn't really feel myself, like, really being impressed. I was having fun, sure, and it wasn't bad, but the entirety of the DLCs, in my opinion, were kind of underwhelming, and I don't want to, like, cut anybody short that made this game, because I think it's a fantastic Final Fantasy game, but I think that it could be a bit better, in my honest opinion. I don't want to sound like I'm, like, all cocky, and I'm like, oh, I know what's best for all video games, but there's just something missing from these DLCs, and I think the thing missing from this DLC is that this shouldn't have been 3 different DLCs. It should have been, it should have been part of the main campaign. Sorry, I don't know, I stuttered there, that was weird. And I can't even think what the multiplayer DLC is called. I honestly can't really review the multiplayer one because I am still playing through it currently. Which, honest to God, I completely forgot about the multiplayer DLC until just now, so that's kind of awkward, but The multiplayer DLC, first thoughts on that, it's okay. Kind of repetitive because you have to go power up the cities. I don't know how long it's supposed to last. But in terms of the Gladiolus, Prompto, Ignis episodes, I think that Gladiolus is my favorite one. It didn't really blow me away or astound me. I found it kind of weird how, what's the guy's? Oh my gosh, is his name Core? I think his name is. I like the story with him and Gladiolus. Sorry, it was called Ignis because I read that on screen. I really liked the storytelling in that episode, but in particular, I liked Ingus's episode, or Ignis's episode. Excuse, not Ingus. His name isn't Ingus. His name is Ignis. Sorry. I really liked the storytelling there, where he was having a fight with, spoiler alert, Arden, which is the main antagonist of the game. Well, one of them. And I really like that scene. Like, it was like when you had to fight against him, I felt anger. I was like, oh my god, I can totally get behind this character right now, and I could totally put myself in his shoes and just kind of like go ham on him, on Arden. Or is his name Arden? Why am I second guessing myself in this episode or this video? God, maybe I do second guess myself. I don't know. But I really liked that part of it. I would say Gladiolus is my favorite one just because I think I liked it a bit more through the entire thing. Then I would say Ignis's episode because you got that awesome fight with Arden, and then I really like the combat in that episode. It's a close tie with Gladiolus's and Ignis's episode because I really like the combat in both of them. But I think I like Gladiolus's a little bit more because it did that boss rush sort of thing where you're like, hey, I got a bunch of trials and then I get to go kick Gilgamesh's butt, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. The really only problem I had besides not being by being underwhelmed by the entirety of all the DLCs is it never got difficult. And as a long-term Final Fantasy fan, I can assure you that I will say every other game in the Final Fantasy franchise had that one campaign or story mode boss that pisses you off to no end and that you simply cannot beat without looking up a guide or without just trying again or just getting lucky. I really didn't have that experience in Final Fantasy 15's main storyline, and especially not in the DLC. It was very self-explanatory where the weak spots of some of the bosses were. For example, Prompto with the auto turret segment where you did like shoot the giant thing. I can't remember what it was, but it was very obvious. Gilgamesh, you have to dodge his attacks really quickly, and then you have to hold X to block, and then counter parry with B. I was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty self-explanatory, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sound like I'm harping too much on the DLC in this episode or this video because I really enjoyed the DLC, but if I paid for this DLC, in my honest opinion, which I didn't, which I don't know why. I don't know. I'll have to look it up and let you guys know in the description of this video. If the DLC is like a free thing or if it's paid. Maybe the Windows Edition, because I ordered it like in the first week or so, maybe I got the DLC for free or something weird like that. But honestly, would I pony up money for this DLC? Probably not. I honestly couldn't see myself on the base price right now on Steam is $50 for this, $49.99. That's assuming that if you buy this on PS4 or Xbox One, I believe it's at $60 or $59.99 US dollars. I call it what you will. I'm kind of a cheapskate when it comes to games, especially when they're $60 titles with added like DLC or microtransactions. Luckily, so far, I haven't seen any microtransactions in this game, but there are DLC. There are DLCs in this game, and if I had to pay for it, I wouldn't necessarily think it would be worth it. And that's just my honest opinion. So if you are to buy the DLC, if it's not free with the game, I would recommend getting it in a bundle or something with the game. Because, honestly, it's stuff that you really... There's two sides of it, right? Because me as a storyteller, and me wanting to know the story, yeah, it's a necessity. It's like, where the heck did these characters go in the middle of the story, right? I gotta know. And then on the other hand, it's like, man, do I really want to pony up some money because some character left, and I just gotta find out why. It's kind of frustrating that it's almost like paywalled content in a way. This is assuming, of course, if it goes off of the predication that it is paid DLC, which I believe it is. And let's say, for example, if it wasn't paid DLC, right? It's still frustrating because for most people when this game came out, what was it, last year, I think now? A year ago? So I've only started playing it within the last month, so I got off easy on this. I had to wait no time. I literally loaded the game up, played through the entirety of the campaign, and then I played the episodes. They were already in day one. I didn't finish the game on day one. It took me a few weeks, but you gotta understand like the frustration with with people in the community that waited this long for something that wasn't overwhelming, and in fact it was quite the opposite. It was underwhelming, like I've said multiple times. It wasn't bad per se, but it wasn't anything that really kind of blew me away and was DLC worthy. That's just my honest opinion. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below this video. I'm going to be bringing a full review of this game, so not DLC, of course. But so I did my first impressions of the game, which is I think 10 hours in. I think that's what it was. And now I've gotten closer to like 30-ish, which is insane because, like I said, I usually don't sink that much time into a video game, but like you guys know what it is, what it's like to get that one game where it's like you can't put that sucker down. It's the only thing in your life that's like, whoa. And that's not true. I have a lot of other things like college and writing, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'd rather kind of do this than work on my English essay or whatever a week early. But I don't even have an English class. I do have an English class, but I don't have any essays for it. Never mind. That's besides the point completely. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below this video. What you guys thought of the DLCs for Final Fantasy 15. I am going to be bringing a lot more Final Fantasy based content to this channel because I've started to really fall in love with the series again. I never really fall out of love with it. I just kind of stopped playing it as much. I don't know why. Maybe it's because there wasn't really a new game that I could sink my teeth into, and Final Fantasy 15 was that game for me. Yes, I'll bring a review of the game, and I'll probably talk a lot more about this subject, or this game in future videos and different subjects. But I also want to go back and revisit older Final Fantasy games. I'm also playing through Final Fantasy X-2 on the channel, as well as Tony Hawk's Underground, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, and I also have another series planned with Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, and then more freaking series to come. Obviously, there's going to be a huge, like, it's going to be really diverse in this channel, so it's obviously going to be video game related. I also want to have some writing stuff, but if you guys don't like writing, if you're only here for the video games, completely understandable. I don't blame you. When I watch a channel, I usually watch it for either one or two reasons. A, because of the game, or B, because of the host. And most of the time it's both, because I kind of stick behind the host more often than not, and if they want to play a new game or whatever, approach new video territory, that's like, hey, I'm down for the ride. I like you as a person. I like your personality. I don't know, but that's just me. A lot of people are different here on YouTube, so it's not that big of a deal if you guys only like my videos for my Final Fantasy stuff. I completely understand, because I've been in that same position before, when the shoe's on the other foot. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Keep calm and trust your instincts, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.